my eyes deceive me? Did we actually manage to get some good Fallout content in 2024? Man, I was starting to think that series was done for. And I'm a huge Fallout fan. As a matter of fact, I'm such a big fan that I was in middle school when Fallout 4 got released. And I thought for sure at the time it would win Game of the Year at the Game Awards that year. But instead The Witcher 3 won it. And I was so furious that I uploaded a video on YouTube where I just said fuck The Witcher 3 like 6 times in a row. This video has since then been deleted, as middle school me didn't think that girls would like that nerdy ass shit. Anyway, point is, I love Fallout. And I absolutely love what they did with the TV show. I think the acting was phenomenal. I thought the story was phenomenal, the writing. Everything about it really brought the Fallout universe to life. And you know what else I really liked? The social commentary. I absolutely love that it painted the end of the world and nuclear war as something that can be packaged, branded, and sold under capitalism. As is what Vault-Tec did. They sold products and made a profit while essentially marketing a nuclear apocalypse, and even went as far as to give it a happy-go-lucky ass mascot by turning TV star Cooper Howard into Vault Boy. Let's quickly go over some of the lore, and some of the new lore that we learned about Fallout through the TV show. We knew that in the years leading up to the Great War, you know, the war that ended with the entire planet being fucking nuked, that the United States was fighting China over control of oh so important fossil fuel resources in what was known as the Sino-American War. Eventually there was a battle in Anchorage, Alaska, in which the United States fought off Chinese invaders who requested that the United States stop playing around with nuclear power, yet it was to no avail. Now originally, it was believed that China dropped the bomb shortly after this, in retaliation to the actions of the United States. But it turns out that this isn't actually what happened, at least not by what is being suggested in the TV show. See, the United States and China were actually entering peace talks to end the Sino-American War. This was of course inconvenient for Vault-Tec, as it meant that its products would now be pretty much useless, as there would no longer be a need for the Vaults or any of their nuclear Fallout survival kit-ass products. So what did Vault-Tec do? Well, how else does a mega corporation solve their problem of possible world peace when they're trying to sell the end of the world through nuclear war? You end the fucking world and drop the nukes yourself to protect your profit. And that's exactly what Vault-Tec did. Through what is being suggested in the show, Vault-Tec dropped the initial nukes to push us officially into nuclear war. And since they had hundreds of nuclear fallout vaults spread throughout the country, with thousands of people buying spots in said vaults to the point where pretty much every vault was full, it meant that they had successfully sold the apocalypse, and their line of products was a huge success itself. Now I know what you're thinking. How can they possibly be successful if they end the world? How would the executives benefit from this success if there's nothing left to benefit from? Well, part of their evil ass plan was to place top Vault-Tec officials in a cryogenically induced sleep in Vault 31 until humanity and all the surface people died off from the effects of the bombs, leaving Vault-Tec with a fresh world with no government or competition to hold them back. They would have full control of the wasteland, and they would use their brainwashed vault dwellers to carry out their will. The Fallout story can get pretty dark sometimes, but you know, while I was watching this, I got to thinking, this really isn't that far off from what happens in the real world. I mean, obviously we've never had a global nuclear war or anything like the events in Fallout. Well, you know, we had a Cold War and everything, but we didn't have like the nuclear war part. But what we do have in real life, and what I believe that Vault-Tec was created to parody, is corporations that are heavily invested in tragedies. In particular, corporations who make profit off of wars. I believe that Fallout, and the TV show specifically, is warning us about the consequences of letting a corporation whose main priority is making profit have any sort of say in international relations as serious as wars. Companies like Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics give millions and billions of dollars to top officials to, quote, influence defense policy, which sometimes means prolonging or provoking conflicts that end up causing mass destruction and destabilization of millions of people's lives. I believe that the writers of Fallout did this to make fun of these real-world corporations and to warn us about them. Basically, when you turn war into a business, something that can be bought, sold, and marketed, it will eventually lead to catastrophe and endless war, as such in the Fallout world. And as such in real life, if we're being honest.
I thought the studio owned that character.
They did, and then Robco bought the studio.
Listen to me. Hollywood is the past. Forget Hollywood. The future, my friend, is products. You're a product, I'm a product. The end of the world is a product. And for those of us who can successfully embrace that, I'd say the future is golden. To the future.
To the future.
Another part of the Fallout TV series social commentary that I'm a huge fan of is the way they portrayed the ridiculousness of the Red Scare and McCarthyism. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Red Scare was a period of public fear and anxiety over the supposed rise of communist or socialist ideologies in non-communist states, in particular the United States. Basically, if you supported a left-leaning ideology, that left-leaning ideology was something to fear. Something to be scared of, something that, could threaten your everyday life, basically. And McCarthyism was during the Red Scare. It was basically a period in the United States where pretty much everyone the government didn't like or was suspected of being even slightly left-leaning would be declared a communist by this dude named Joseph McCarthy, and would have their lives be practically ruined from there on out. Now, how does Fallout call out these topics? Well, in the show, there's this character named Moldaver, who at first seems to be this murderous woman with insane goals. I mean, she's basically the queen of raiders. When we first get introduced to her, she and her gang are attacking the seemingly civilized Vault 33, the vault where the main character Lucy and her brother Rico Suave from Hannah, Montana come from. Moldaver ends up kidnapping their dad, who is the overseer of Vault 33, and this is what kicks off Lucy's story in the show. We are led to believe from this point onward that Moldaver and her organization are evil and must be stopped because of these actions. We even come to find out that she has a bounty on her head, and her gang are portrayed as dirty and borderline feral in comparison with the vault dwellers they attacked, reinforcing the idea in the viewer's head that she's evil. But as the series goes on, we come to find out that Moldaver may not actually be as bad as we originally thought. In fact, she might not be bad at all. She might have good intentions. It turns out she's actually hundreds of years old, and her goal was always to expose the evil of Vault Tech, even from before the original nukes were dropped. And the reason she's out to get Lucy's dad is because Lucy's dad was one of the Vault Tech executives cryogenically frozen from all those years ago. And he's an evil man who even dropped a bomb on the city where Moldaver used to stay, Shady Sands, killing everyone in the city, including Lucy's mother and his ex-wife. And the reason she needs him specifically is because she needs a Vault Tech executive to enter a code that would activate a material called cold fusion. This material would then provide energy for all in the wasteland and improve the lives of the surface people in the Fallout world. Now, throughout the series, Cooper Howard, or the Ghoul, is searching for Moldaver, and we assume it's because she may have done him wrong or did something to him that wouldn't be out of the ordinary for the wasteland. However, we come to find out that Moldaver once knew Cooper Howard personally, from before the bombs dropped, and she was the head of an organization that got outed as being communist for simply trying to expose the fact that Vault Tech were murderous, insane, and needed to be shut down immediately. She goes on to tell Cooper a line that carries a lot of weight, even beyond the fictional world of Fallout. She says that she's not even a communist, but that's something that they call people for not being crazy. This is a direct call out of McCarthyism and the Red Scare, as even nowadays, and especially during the Cold War, the time period that Fallout is mainly inspired by, people were oftentimes outed and slandered as communists for simply wanting a better world in which everyone can have what they need and companies held accountable for their actions. Fallout is showing us the dangers of delegitimizing legitimate concerns that people may have in regard to capitalism, simply because the person doing the criticism is a communist, leftist, or not. Now, before this point, Cooper Howard was fully brainwashed by the Red Scare and its propaganda. I mean, the guy fought in the military for the United States, and he was pretty much being used as a poster boy and a mascot for corporations, capitalism, and the United States. So of course he thought Moldaver's ideology at the time was a, quote, load of horseshit. It wasn't until Moldaver convinces him to spy on his evil-ass wife, who was a Vault Tech executive and the one who came up with the idea to drop the bombs in the first place, that Cooper Howard undoes the brainwashing of years and years of Red Scare propaganda. through this character dynamic of Moldaver and Cooper Howard, we see the effects of the Red Scare, as well as how hard it is to undo all those years of Red Scare propaganda. And it's funny because in the Fallout world, while the United States government was so worried about whether or not an organization that simply raised the question about a company's ethics was communist or not, they allowed said company to literally end the world, which is honestly not too far off from what happens in the real world. For example, certain governments worry about shutting down climate change protests more than they care about shutting down the companies causing climate change and severe damage to the world. And really, this could be a parody of capitalist governments all around the world. In many of these countries, the government may completely ignore the demands of the majority to defend the interests of small groups of elites that own powerful corporations, even if the companies are completely unethical. Thank y'all for sticking to the end of this video, and I would like to point out that I don't believe that the Fallout TV series is showing support to any sort of political system or ideology. However, I don't think you have to show support to any of them in order to criticize another. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed the video. As always, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and more videos will be on the way. Peace out.